Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from the UK, just north of London. I'm so glad that you're joining me today to hopefully talk about some knitting. We don't really know what's going to happen. First of all, it's the 25th of January 2021, which still feels like we're talking about living in the future to me. And I decided to record pretty randomly because for once, my baby is not sleeping, of course. Why would he do that? But he is playing somewhat quietly. So I thought I would just take this opportunity to talk to you a little bit. And I have no idea if we will get through everything that I want to talk about, or if there's going to be cuts, or if I do this in a couple of segments that I will then piece together. Who knows? But I thought I might as well start, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today, whether it's for the first time or whether you're coming back. Thank you so much for those of you who do come back, and thank you to those of you who left lovely comments on the previous episodes. I really appreciate that. I read all of them, and sometimes I have time to respond, sometimes I just read them and click the like button, and please just do know that I do appreciate those. So first up, let's talk about what I am wearing. So what I am wearing is actually, of course, my Tier 4 cast on, which is a sweater that I cast on back when we had a Tier 4 and not a national lockdown here in the UK. And the idea was just to cast on something super colorful. So I took a bunch of 50-gram sort of rainbow skeins that I had of Tuku wool, which is a Finnish brand, and I paired those with a cone of a gray Jameson and Smith Shetland yarn. So it's a 2-ply jumper weight. And I decided to just make up my own sweater. So I started at the bottom, and if you've been watching, I think the last 2 or 3 episodes, you will have heard much about that already, so I won't go into detail, but essentially I knit a tube from the bottom up, and then I added sticks both for the sleeves, so I had sticks here and here, and also one for the neckline, because I wanted the neckline to kind of dip down a little bit, as you can hopefully see now. And last time I showed it to you, I had finished the body, but I hadn't cut open the sticks and I hadn't knit any sleeves. So I did all of that, and I'm so excited that this thing is done, and it actually turned out pretty well. I mean, I wanted it to be a bit more oversized than it turned out to be, so it's not this sort of huge sweater that I had in mind. But at the same time, I'm actually not too sad about it, because for a time I was worried that I made a bit of a potato sack. So in terms of the ease and everything, it works quite well. It has a dropped shoulder design, so you can see here where my sleeves start. This is how wide I knit the body. And I really like the sort of effect that you get with the color work coming over the shoulders. And then I pretty much knit bracelet length sleeves that they do always ride up a little bit, but oh well. I picked up for the neckline, and I did 2x2 ribbing, and in the beginning I was a bit worried that I maybe had done the neckline too tight. It just about fit, and I thought maybe I would have to rip it out again, but I actually really like it now, and I like a sort of, I don't want a super tight neck, but I prefer a neckline that kind of goes up pretty far, so you don't have to worry what you're wearing underneath, and also keeps me nice and toasty, which is good because I want my sweaters to be like actual warm sweaters rather than having to wear like a shawl or something on top of it in order to stay warm. So all in all, I am really happy with this. Is it the most beautiful color work or color combination that I ever came up with? Maybe not. But this was just such a fun sort of sweater to do. It was such a fun project for me that was very much about the process of knitting it and also using up some yarn and stash, and I am really happy about it. At the moment, I am not planning to write this into a pattern, although I am trying to write down sort of my pattern recipe, because I essentially came up with this entire sort of recipe of how I like to knit a bottom-up steeked sweater. But I'm finding it really hard to write that up because I think I am a very intuitive knitter, and I come from Germany, where I think lots of old patterns and the way I used to knit, they don't use a lot of words. It's kind of like, well, you find the middle of the sweater and then you decrease on either side at a rate of such and such. And so it's very minimal, and that's sort of the way that my brain works as well. So to then translate that into a matter of, for row 47, knit to a certain marker and do this and then do that, and like to write it all into a pattern is quite hard for me. But I've started, and who knows, maybe one day I'll come back to it. At the moment, my baby is keeping me super, super busy, and I'm not really getting around to do anything that requires some kind of brain power. So I actually knit quite a lot, but I have no sort of time and space to be sitting down and working through a pattern and calculating numbers and all of that. So that is a little bit on hold for now, but who knows. Talking about my baby, I'm sorry, you can probably hear him in the background. He is playing with his activity gym, and it is much quieter than he usually is, but you can probably still hear him. So I hope it isn't too annoying, especially if you might be listening with earphones. I'm sorry. This is just the best that I can do. In terms of finished objects though, I have one other finished object, which I thought I might not even be able to show you, but here we are. These are my father-in-law's birthday socks, so they will go into the post this week for sure, because his birthday is in the middle of February, and who knows, now that we are this tiny island outside the EU, who knows how long that'll take. But these socks were knit using some Regia yarn in their perfect range. It's one of their Anne and Carlos colorways. I don't have the tag with me right now. But if you can use Ravelry, and I'm sorry if you can't, I just haven't found another good way to log my projects. But if you can, there's a link under my video to all of our project pages, and you will find like the information on colorways and needles and everything there. Sorry about the noise. But these are done. I love them, and I think my father-in-law will really appreciate them, because he is definitely the third most knitworthy man in my life, I should say, right after Kai and my son. So yeah, these are done, and they will go into the post very, very soon. Alright, I actually didn't anticipate that I would get to talk about works in progress before my son freaks out, but apparently he is good. So fingers crossed. So I get to show you what I've been working on. So I am working on two sweaters. You may remember the color work Vanna sweater by Kit Couture that I'm working on. Well, I have finally started the body of that sweater, but essentially it is a long black tube because it has a fold over hem, which took ages and ages and ages to knit because it's on a ridiculous tiny gauge on, I think I knit it on 2.25 millimeter needles. I finished that now, and I've just done one row of color work, so now I can actually start properly making some progress on that, but it isn't really worth me showing it to you. But I had to, of course, cast on a new sweater because I mean, I am on such a garment kick, and I actually need all the sweaters now. And I've noticed with a baby who loves to split up on my hand knit sweaters, sometimes having a couple of lighter superwash sweaters are a good idea. So look what I've done. I'm so excited about this. This is the Stripes sweater, Stripes exclamation point sweater by Andrea Mowry. I seem to be on a bit of a kick of her patterns at the moment, which there's nothing wrong with that. I really like the way that she writes her patterns. They just kind of work for me, and so yeah, I think the original is written for more of a sport weight or even DK weight yarn. I'm not quite sure. It's I think a 22 or 21.5 stitch gauge. But I decided to use some fingering weight yarn, and oh my god, I love this color combination so much. This yarn I actually picked up at the Oslo Stricker Festival in 2019. I had picked it up out for a different project, but oh well. And the yarn is Ching Fiber, who is in the UK. I think they're not even too far away from where I am. In their soft and springy 100% merino base. I think it's it feels like a high twist sort of 2-ply yarn, which I really, really like. and the two colors are Spirit and a Flame. And I really like how they are playing together. They're both speckled, but they work together in those stripes because the stripes are relatively wide. And yeah, this has been such a fun knit. Obviously for the yoke, there's a little bit of, increasing and reading the pattern, but I have just separated for the sleeves. So from now on, it's going to be a super simple vanilla sweater that I can just work on whenever I have the baby around. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun sweater to have as well, because it is very different in terms of colors to what I usually knit. And I'm following the Stripes Sweater hashtag on Instagram, and there are just so many fun sort of scrappy stripes sweaters as well. So I think it could be a pattern that I come back to every now and then, because it is just really fun and easy to adapt and so on. So yeah, that's what I've been working on in terms of garments. I have also been working on some socks. So sorry, something got stuck in my throat there. One thing that I've been wanting to knit for a while is a yarn. Well, I ordered some yarn from the Dotty Wool Co., who is a UK based, I think North Ireland based indie dyer, and I actually got one of her self-strapping skeins as a gift. But when I received it, she had also packed in, I think it was a 35-gram mini skein of one of her Christmas colorways. And I kept on going back to that 35-gram little ball and trying to figure out what to do with it. And I know there are plenty of things. I know there are plenty of things that I could do with 35 grams of yarn, but I really wanted to knit some socks. So in the end, I decided to just split it into two tiny, I think 17.5 gram balls. They're pretty small. And just to try how much of a sock I can get out of it, considering I have pretty big feet. I have a EU size 41. And this is where we are. So I did a contrasting calf with 20 rows. I did an afterthought heel, which is in all of my sock patterns if you're interested, and a contrasting toe. And as you can see, I got quite a reasonable sock out of it. It's of course shorter than I usually knit my socks because I like my socks to have long cuffs. But I'm actually really excited about this. And I did this within 24 hours, which was a really fun quick knit. So I have one more sock to go and then this pair will be done. Alright you guys, I think someone is ready for his lunch, which is fair enough. I think he was a pretty good sport. I haven't really been working on anything else anyways besides my sock blank socks, but I again haven't made a ton of progress on that. So I'll just show that to you next time. Besides that, what has been happening, the most exciting thing that happened is we had snow. Actually, as I'm looking outside, we have this glorious day today. It is sunny and we still have snow. It is slowly starting to melt away, but we had, I think, quite a lot of snow considering we're in the UK. So our boy of course had his first walk outside in the snow and he tasted the snow and he found it all very fascinating, which was adorable. And besides that, I mean, obviously we are still mostly staying inside. We are not meeting anyone outside of our household. We are getting stuff delivered. So really going on socially distanced walks from anyone else is pretty much the only thing we're doing, but we're keeping our spirits up. We're eating way too much cake and scones and all of that. I am so... I don't even know why. I never used to have a sweet tooth, and lately I'm just so in love with eating all the unhealthy sweet stuff. I think maybe it has also to do with sleep deprivation and stuff, but we're living in a pandemic. I'm going to eat cake and I don't care. But yeah, that is pretty much what's been happening. So I hope that I'll be back with you sometime soon. I think maybe short episodes are the right way going forward. Again, I really hope that my boy isn't super loud, but it is just kind of the way it is, and I know that some people find it cute and I know that some people probably find it really annoying. But here we are. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, I hope that you're staying safe and healthy and you're keeping your spirits up if you're in lockdown or in some kind of lockdown situation in general. Um, I hope to see all of you guys again very, very soon. And until then, thank you so much for checking in with me today. Happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will see you soon. Bye!